Hello and welcome back to another episode of World of Warcraft Hardcore. My name is Syken and today we are continuing the World of Warcraft Hardcore series of our warrior Syken Stomp's official service of Stitches. We arrived in Felwood. I did Feralis, not Felwood, Feralis. I did a couple of pre-quests, nothing like major, but still a couple of things like the war against the Woodpaw down there. And we are now ready to kind of move against the Hive, and that should be the first quest that I'm introducing. So we need to do two things. Sukalash Infestation, which is kill 20 of these Hive crawlers, and then the other one is Stinglasher, level 47 named boss, so to speak. So that should, both of that should actually not be a big issue. So let's start with that. Afterwards we do have 20 Grim Totems that we will need to kill. And after that we have a couple of ogres to the north that need a beating. Look at that. Stinglasher. Immediately found it. Talking about being lucky, eh? Very good. Let's directly engage. It's a little bit higher level than we are, but we should be fine. Don't see an issue with it. It got Lash and Venom Sting. That's the Lash. So far Venom Sting hasn't been coming through. Oh yeah, easy. Cool. So that's like the rare, hard to find guy immediately out of the way. Those workers begin to run, so that's why we'll nicely keep a hamstring up. And all we need to do is really isolate these enemies. Hit them, try to receive as little damage as possible. And collect the carapace. I think there is really nothing else to it. Ooh, nice crit. Love it. We got ourselves CG buff, so we are moderately buffed. And I like it. I mean, with conservative play, we're only losing about 5%-ish per enemy. Sure, at some point we will need to... that missed, not good. At some point we will need to stop and regenerate health, but not immediately. Got a cloak here. Strength, agility, stamina. That's actually not a bad one. So 13 versus 714 points. And this has a little bit more strength, and strength scales better with a warrior than agility. So there we go. New cloak. Right off the bat. We need a few more carapace. There is a bit of a hive here, and I talked about the hives earlier, right? So There's 1 in 1,000 needles, which I, by the way, found out how to start the quest, so I even did that off screen. So those are the lowest drones, furthest away from Silithus. Then we got the hive here, which is already a little bit stronger, moderately so. We got the hive in Tenaris, which is even stronger. Guys are around level 50-ish. And then of course Silithus with the main hives, actually 3 if I'm remembering correctly, and a hell lot of quests just around all of those hives. Cool, we're getting really solid drops overall. And I came to the conclusion that as good as sweeping strikes are, in terms of time investment, not only money investment to just buy the food, but also time investment, it's actually a little bit more efficient to not drink that often in between, or eat that often in between, but instead just go for single kills. Simply because if you do it right, like I hopefully am doing, you're minimizing the downtime. Very little damage that I'm taking. Only need to kind of only need to take a break every, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 pulls. And for lower level enemies, which the majority of the enemies that I'm fighting are substantially lower level than ourselves, it's typically between 15 and 20 seconds, and then they're dead. These even level enemies, which is an exception, they take a little bit longer, but I would still say it has the same logic. So charge has 15 seconds of cooldown, so you pretty much know when 15 seconds are over, and these guys take 20 to 30 seconds depending on the crit luck. And if I take 2, yes, it's a little bit faster, but the problem with it is that I will need to also wait a bit longer afterwards, just due to the drinking. So net, it isn't really that much faster, and it is way more expensive to continuously buy the food. Not just like buying it once, but like continuously effectively eating after every pull. Of course, if you don't crit a lot, then the single pull technique can become a bit tedious. But yeah, that I haven't really counted, but I think this is like 8s or 9s pull that we're doing in a row. And the rare Sting Lasher is coming back up yet again. Unbelievable. And not only that, there seems to be Quirot, another actual rare, down in the hive. I'll see if I can spot it. Fast forward for you guys, we are about like halfway, is that fair to say? Yeah, 14 out of 20. Alrighty, so we are done with the hive down there. I even killed the named one, who dropped, surprisingly enough, a 7 stamina, 7 strength plate bracer. Talking about just being lucky to get actually 2 random drops that are usable. Still a little bit low level both, but better than having completely out leveled gear, so I feel quite fortunate in that way. The overall gear that I'm wearing isn't too bad. Of course, it would be better if we would continuously run dungeons, but yeah, that's currently simply not possible. Just as a reference, if we do 41 to 49, we have 22 people online, and that's already more than we had a while ago. So that's actually better than I would have expected. You could even build a group out of that. There were plenty of days where that prompt would have only given you like 5 or 6 people, 2 of which are bots. Yeah, so the server might be recovering a little bit. Not sure, but there is hope. Good, so for the Grim Totems, relatively straightforward actually. We can kill whatever Grim Totem we want, and we're getting horns. Get 20 horns, profit. And afterwards we're trading in because our quest log is completely overfilled. And there is another pickup quest with the ogres up there. But that's good. We still have the majority of Feralis ahead of us. And we're like level 46. Perfect. Very seldom was I so over-leveled as in this playthrough. And it's not bad, because if you're always having a few more quests available, then you never are in that stupid position where you would need to finish yet another few quests, or where you're even out of quests in an area, and then you need to go into the next area, and the quests, the beginning quests, are kind of high yellow, low orange. That's the worst. Downside of it is I was forced to do quite a few kind of lower level quests, like in Swamp of Sorrows, and had I not done that, there would have been a ripple effect. So if you leave out a couple of quests here and there, then all of a sudden you pick up with the quests available, and then the quests that were a little bit too low for you are now much too low for you. And yeah, either you then grind for a level, or you're doing quests that no one or very few people are doing, like the group quests, that however is not an option with the state of the server. Or the other alternative is run dungeons repetitively, which in hardcore, with the limitation of 1 dungeon per day, 1 of each instance per day, is also not great. Plus, with the state of the server, it's literally impossible. So yeah, you're back to grinding mobs or doing higher level quests. And the problem with the warrior in particular is they, even if they wanted to do higher level quests, they as a class have a particularly bad chassis in order to do that. Because if you're fighting even level mobs, things are just much harder. Just compare how quickly I dissolve the health bar of these guys, even like super tanky enemies like this naturalist. As a reference, 15 seconds is the charge timer, so barely 15 seconds over, done. And that was high hit point, low damage enemy. Compare that to more or less even level even level mobs in the hive, and you kind of immediately see the difference, let alone higher level mobs, which would have been even worse.
I'm out of range. Not enough range. Not enough range.
Alright, so that'll be more enemies. Let's just finish this guy. Ooh, we're spamming Wrath. Okay, got you. That's a quadruple pull. Nah, I'll just reset. It's alright. It's okay. It's not worth the hustle. Yeah, this is an example of how quickly you can kill that. That was 12 seconds as a kill. Good, we're taking that other camp up there, and I'll get the remaining 8 horns, and then we're off to the next quest. Done deal. Easily cleared out the entire camp here. Off recording it went even faster. Oh my lord, these guys dropped. So we're 27 minutes in. I can see that with our buffs, and we finished 3 quests already. Grindy quests, mind you. So tempo is really, really nice for someone who does not have an active self-heal. Warriors always have like this narrative that they love to spin about it being the hardest class to level, and really it is just so difficult, yada yada. And there is a certain truth to it, that you really don't have that many tools at your disposal. Fair enough, that part is true. However, there are other things that constitute difficulty than the amount of tools at your disposal. Engineering does a fantastic job to fill that gap or that void of utility, and the warrior definitely has a massive damage potential, like enormous. If I compare the experience here to the experience with a shaman, I do understand why shamans have a higher death rate and actually a lower rate of people making it to 60 than warriors. So arguably the more difficult class in my perspective, because the shaman is not great at multi-pulls. He struggles as soon as there is more than one enemy. Just doesn't have the tools to deal with it. No hard CC. And Earthbind and Stoneclaw Totem are the only ones. There is a huge difference between the tankiness of a warrior and a shaman in any of the specs. And the shaman on top of that has burst potential, but is very mana dependent. And the mana is barely enough to go through 3 equal level mobs. Then you're typically like which means you would need to mana pot and wouldn't have a health pot in order to do that. Then the damage output is bursty, but once that burst is gone, the ongoing DPS of the shaman is actually, relatively speaking, low. So you find yourself in a situation that unless you can really burst down an enemy, you do have a bigger problem than the warrior ever would have, simply because you can't like out-sustain them and can't just heal yourself in order to kind of make the problem go away. That's not how the shaman functions. Plus, you can't really run away, or you can, shall I put it that way, you can run away just as well as a warrior could, because the Earthbind Totem, in my perspective, is a nice AoE effect, but it is barely as good as for instance a hamstring. So I don't see that much of a difference between the abilities, objectively speaking. And other than that, Shaman, yeah, you do have Ghost Wolf, but that kind of already means you're going into Enhancement, which is by far the worst spec, and the most dangerous one. And then Ghost Wolf is not an instant cast and still can be dazed, etc., etc. So I could make a whole case why I think that the Shaman, just based on lack of damage output and pseudo utility that doesn't really help you to survive better, would make an excellent contender for being just as difficult, if not more difficult, than the Warrior. So maybe you can write in the comments down below if you do have your own experience, what your thoughts on the Matter are. I've played both on Horde side, sort of not back to back, but from a timing perspective, close-ish together, and have a fairly good grasp on how strong both of the chassis are. And I will say that yes, the Shaman had its absolute high points, specifically a couple of power spikes where the class was good, but generally speaking, in terms of solo content, it doesn't clear particularly fast. It is very reliant on pulling things one at a time, and when shit hits the fan, it doesn't have like the best survivability, and that for me are the reasons why I think it's even harder than with a Warrior. And by the way, my Shaman also was engineered, so it's really a like for like comparison. I use the same utility, extra utility, as I am doing here. Alright, speaking about which, let's focus at the task at hand. Gotta kill a couple of these ogres, and on top of it we're getting some ore. Ogres, I mentioned that at least once every playthrough, are amongst my favorite enemies. Low damage, comparably low hit points, do not run away, no abilities that are annoying or suck. In other words, the perfect grinding enemies. And just look, I'm almost losing no hit points. And these guys are barely green. And this kind of kill speed, by the way, that we're seeing here, I've never witnessed that on a Shaman. Shamans would immediately need to drink. And don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on Shamans as a class. I think they are an excellent class. Matter of fact, actually an incredibly strong class. I could even argue on Horde side a dominatingly strong class. But leveling wise, not so much. So that was the drop quest, could be anywhere. We were lucky that we immediately found it. There it is yet again. Lol. Just respawned. Hallelujah.
I'm out of rage.
Good, and we need to get a bit of that cobalt here. I think the scroll is unique, right? Yeah, it's unique, so I can't even pick it up. Can't even pick it up. Good. We still need to kill quite a few ogres, and then we need to get cobalt. both of which should be easy tasks for us. And then we trade in Cobalt, Ogres, and the Scroll. That's a triple Vemi right there. Nice. Yeah, the clear speed is really, really good. Like the trick with a warrior in a nutshell is just don't fight enemies that are your level or higher level. And whilst that is true for many of the melee classes, the warrior just is faster and more consistent in that the shaman doesn't struggle as much with equal level mobs compared to how the warrior maybe struggles. Struggle is too hard of a word. The shaman can still with ease go toe-to-toe with equal level mobs, but lower level mobs, it can't just do 7, 8, 9 pulls in a row quick, 20 seconds here, 20 seconds there. It will need a break after latest 3, 4 pulls. And that's not the case here. If you look at it, let's just check. So how many can we do in a row? Trying to not double pull, but just consistently pull these guys. All right, so that's one. That's 2. Basically a kill in 8 seconds, by the way.
I'm out of range.
Three. Again, an 11 seconds kill. Four. That's 5. Six. Seven. Ah, that's even a double pull. Seven. Okay, so that's 8 in a row. Mind you, the vast majority of the health that we lost was basically in that double pull. And it was 15 seconds each, so that's 2 minutes. And if I would have single pulled the last 2, we would still be at 75% or whatnot. Definitely not possible with the shaman, so the warrior does have the upper hand in that scenario. Fast forward for the rest, so that we can trade in. Alrighty, back in the city. And time for us to trade in all of the nasty ogre quests here.
May your blades never
Thank you.
Go with honor. Fight well, friend. Go forth to victory.
Nice. So we got the follow-up quests. That's the cool part about it. There, Feralis from actually both sides is really story heavy.
Glad I could help.
And we got plenty of rewards. Let me just organize backpacks. Good, we're on our way. Next stop, Ogre Compound. And then we got the feral marks of quality from the Yetis. The zapping quests are a little bit too high level. One more ding, so 30% actually, and I could switch to the epic weapon that I purchased. It's still available. And I got the 20 gold on me. So, that might be an interesting option. I wonder if it is really better. I mean, the Whirlwind X is exceptionally good. 15 strengths is basically 30 attack power. The 14 stam aren't bad. And that's just the stats. The weapon is super slow, 3.6. It's really good. It's just all around really good. By the way, we got the Feralis beacon, which is here. That's the escort quest. Not an easy one for a warrior in particular. Not easy. I would want to do the ogre compound before we're going for that quest. So for the ogres, just need to kill 15 and get the orb. And the orb can be from any mage lord, I think. Maybe the warlocks even have it as well. So this will be nice little brain off grinding. And remember how I mentioned that the warrior is really good at continuously killing stuff that's lower level. That's the case here specifically at the beginning. Unfortunately, the mobs become a little bit higher level later in, so it won't be as trivial. We're looking for warlocks and for maulers. Not brutes, but the maulers. The warlocks die quickly. That's not a problem. The maulers, we're going to see if that's a problem. These guys enrage, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the warlocks are really simple. If you can interrupt their casting, they have nothing. So these are a little bit higher level than the ones that we had beforehand, and we're clocking in. I think that was 6 kills, 6 or 7 in a row, and then we need to rest. That's actually okay. Let me try a mauler, then we're fast forwarding until we're at that lower section, which I think is a little bit harder, so it might be more interesting. Nice little kill. Okay, let's see how well we're doing against the Mauler. I mean, listen. Since we can execute through the phase that really sucks, I'm not seeing a lot of problems here. Yeah, we can still kill them just as fast. Alright, fast forward for the rest up here. Alright, so we're done with the ogres. And I'm making our way to the next quest objective, which are the Yetis. These are relatively straightforward. We just need 10 heights. And we could do the escort quest. Let's see. Just asking randomly the only other person that's here. Alright, so the shaman says he's solo self-found, meaning not only self-found, but he just cannot group, no matter what. But he was kind enough to say, you know what, I can help you. Told him I'm at the cave, he can basically meet me here, and he would out of group run with me. Now, is that worth it? Sure, why not? We could do it in a few levels together, even fully alone, but now finding someone to do it together is not a bad idea. Yeah, the drop rate of these things isn't that great either. I was in that cave on my hunter, and there are actually quite a few Yetis in there, so it's a good hunting spot. No pun intended. If that shaman manages to come here, we should be fine. We're not going to benefit from Wind Fury, but that's okay. Who cares? Just need a heal here and there, and we should be okay. Just need to make sure that I keep him safe. If someone is as kind as to help you in such a quest, you need to make sure no harm is coming their way. And potentially after the quest we will just come back and do the rest of the Yetis, because boy, that drop quest is that drop rate is something else. On the positive, Yetis are a little bit like ogres in the sense that they don't really do that much. Have a couple of nice items. Speaking of which, I found this here in the ogre camp. Really nice helmet. It's the third BOE drop plate drop that I had in my time here, which is crazy if you think about it. Got an almost complete half of my equipment is renewed.
I'm out of rage. Not enough rage. Need more rage. That ability isn't ready.
Thank you for helping, mate. Really appreciate it. It's even a guild mate. Alright, nice. It's an enhancement shaman. Why is everybody playing enhancement? Man. He's also not interfering. Ah, maybe now he is. The distinction that he's an enhancement shaman isn't so far important is they are not good at healing. We barely made it out before the respawn happened. Good, there is the danger. Alright, one down. More sweeping strikes. That's the way to go. His mana's, oh, he's almost and that was not even a difficult fight. And of course, since he needs to pay for all of his water, can't just get it from a mage. or send himself some money. He doesn't have good water, right? So two more groups should be doable. Thank you for helping out. Is that your main character? Ah, it's you, Sergeant Kane. Nice to meet you. He indeed, I know him. He is doing a couple of dungeons and so on, but he never was in our raids. So maybe he's just getting ready for that. Good. Could I have done this quest alone? Maybe, like that 4 pull. That would have taken retaliation, and that means potentially the follow-up pulls I wouldn't have been able to do. Like at level 46, difficult to do it. Just look at the damage. Okay, this one here was a bit easier. Almost needed no healing here. Okay, so this was indeed easy. Yeah, if I would have critted, then yeah, no problem. So here's the thing, like say I would have used retail on the first pull, needed 2. Then this one is easy. The next one is a 4 pull again. I think that would have been, yeah, maybe AoE fear target dummy. I could have been, but it is resource intense, and I'm always like, at the end of the day, yes, my ego would feel nice if I have soloed that, but then, yeah, the target dummy hit point potion utilization of all of the cooldowns, that just doesn't feel very nice. Let's try to do the next one without cooldowns. So we need to kill this guy. He's the main problem. Yeah, see, without healing, I'm not sure that this would be possible. I would be down to half, maybe even a little bit less. I don't know, close, very close. If it would be possible, it would be close. Maybe with some kiting here. Maybe with some kiting. If you need help anytime. Likely yes, I could have, but it would have been resource intense. Like target, dummy, 2 pots, 30 min CD. Are you grouping for dungeons with your character? maybe the guy could be a help. You know, if you want to do in the future, SF would be nice. Good. Fast forward for you, or rather, since it is already late, I think we're just calling it quits here. That was it. Feralis, kind of part one. There are still a few individual quests. This one here, for instance, another 48 perfect Yeti hide. That's a bit of a challenge because there are 49 monsters here, and there are a few follow-ups here as well, all the way up to 50. So I would say we're chilling, and we're doing that in a second go. Plus we need to come back here anyways, because there are quite a few quests from Tanaris that want us to go back and forth, ultimately ending up in the Sunken Temple, and I want to do the Sunken Temple. So that's it from me. Thanks a lot for watching, appreciate it, and see you all in the next episode. Bye bye.